Hello everyone, I'm Kaye England. I'm so excited that you're joining us today as we prepare to present our latest program, Graceful Gardens. I think the first decision you need to make is there a themed fabric, like an anchor fabric, a primary fabric? Now you might say, gee, I want to try this. Well, you can try anything you want to, but I can tell you that I've sewn this a bunch of ways, and I have found that when I partner those two flying geese units or quarter square triangles, I'm going to make a square, so I have to sew on the long leg, and yes, this is bias, which is another reason I don't go to the iron. Now here's where I take a little bit of time, and this is where, for those of you who are press addicts, you're going to go, I just have to press that. I'm telling you, this bias, the minute you put an iron on this right now, you're going to distort that bias. I'm not ready to do that yet. Now, let me go show you a little tip. There are lines, there are diagonal lines on all the tools that tell you it's a 60, a 30, a 45 or something. Anytime I want to cut a square in half, I really like to use a rectangle ruler and set that 45 on it, which throws this angle perfectly through the middle so that I can cut that in half. Then when I put this on here, all I'm doing is lining up to that little crease. It's tough to eye where that goes, and I think if you get in the habit of just folding that, it goes so much quicker. And as I sew it, I'm going to tell you some shortcuts, and I'm also going to tell you some things to be careful about. And I need 4 triangles per block, and I need 2 that look like this, so I need a total of 8. So ultimately in our quilt, it's going to live this way. You almost need a Dramamine, don't you, when you look at the movement on that. But here I am back. Now, if you haven't noticed already, I'm changing clothes, I'm changing jewelry. Hopefully you're paying attention because I'm putting a lot of work in this, so I'd like for you to notice that I am doing this. In other words, I sew in a clockwise fashion. I sew this way, and then I sew that way. We're going to do block 7 is King David's crown. So now as I come into this next unit, I've got to really be careful because there's a lot of bulk in there. Okay, look at my back. Look what I've got, this cute little, this is almost like a little toy. I just like want to go outside and iron in the yard or something. And I'm going to sew up to that seam. It's about right there. I'm looking at how that 90-degree corner lines up. So sometimes the point will be in here, and sometimes the flat will be in there.
And this is just the beginning. I mean, there's so much you can do with embroidery. It's a journey of possibility.
And plus, for those of you who are going to do embroidery, let me tell you, at this point, I'm approaching 40 hours of embroidery that are living in this second quilt, which is considerably more than I put in the first quilt. And what I'm hoping to get across to you is how this is great for you, because you get to decide which way you want to go. But when I laid this ruler down on that, I went, holy mackerel, it's the same thing. So all I have to do is cut a 2.5-inch strip, pick up my bias triangle ruler, and I've already cut some, so the shape is there. Simply lay the ruler down on it, and I have the unit with its nose cut off. So I feel like by now you guys are probably chomping at the bit, like, we don't need you to sew another thing. Well, I'm going to sew something, but I don't need to sew that because you've already made square and a square more than once. And there's my block. So maybe I was in my Picasso mood, and you know, you do things a little weird. When I got ready to stitch this one out, I loved this so much that I decided to put embroidery in all the side sets. Because when you set things on point, there's a little more movement opportunity than there is when you're doing a straight set block. Because now I can see where that point right there and that point right there have to line up. By leaving the paper on, I don't have to peel the paper back and then draw a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So this eliminated me having to draw them. There's more than one way to get about every job done. I typically like the easiest one, but not the only one. My job is to tell you what I believe will give you the absolute best results. Then your job is to decide what part of that do you accept and what part of that do you not agree with me. And we'll be fine with it. But give it a shot this way, because I make a lot of quilts, and it isn't like I'm just saying this because it's chatter. I'm actually saying it because I have proven that this makes a difference in my work.